Hello and welcome to another video on how to develop an expert advisor using MQL4 programming language. So let's open the MQL editor and create a new project. And here is an interesting thing actually. If you remember in the previous video, we talked about inputs. Here you can just simply add your inputs, whatever you want, just give them a name and choose the type for it. Also choose an initial value. You can just simply do that here. As you can see, you can just define them here, or you could do it like we did in the previous value and just write them down yourself. Here, as you can see, those inputs have been created for you. You can see them here, but I'm just gonna remove them because we don't need them right now. I'm also going to clear these comments because it's kind of making the code a little bit complex. I would just want it to be simple. By the way, as you can see, whenever you put two slashes, anything you write after that is not going to be compiled. It will be considered as a comment. So anyway, whenever we wanted to get the high, low, open or closing price of a certain bar, we would have just used open, close, and we would have just given the index of that bar. Let's actually do it here. So we can simply get the open of the bar number 3, which let's go to the chart. This is bar number 0. It's actually changed right now. If you noticed, previously that was 0. Now this one is 0. This one is 1, 2, 3. So this bar is number 3. And let's actually refresh this. Bar open is 0.8 whatever. So this way you could get the open value of a specific bar. Now let's change the time frame and go to 5, 15, 30. You might notice that every time we change the time frame, this price changes. For example, it's 0.8423. Let's go to this, and as you know, price changed. Let's go to this, waiting for the price to change, and here it is. As you can see, the price changes, which means whenever we call open and we give it a bar number, it's going to give the open price of that bar in the current time frame, which means if your chart is on H1, it's going to give the bar number 3 on H1. If it's on M1, it's going to give you the bar number 3 of M1. These values are very differently. They're completely different. They're giving you different numbers. But sometimes you want a specific number of a specific time frame, and you want the open, close, high, low in a time period. For example, in D1 time period, but your chart is on M1. Then what you want to do is you're going to use I open. It's another function that you can use. So simply instead of open, you add an I to the beginning of this. It's going to be I open, and it's no longer an array, it's now a function. You open and close parentheses, and you need to pass a few variables here. So what are these variables? Let's actually go to MQL4 documentation. Here I am opening this page. You can go and check it out, and it's gonna say IOpen is going to return the price value for the bar of a specified symbol with time frame and shift. So whenever you call IOpen, it's going to give you a double value, but you need to pass 3 values. The first one is in a string, which is the symbol of the chart. Could be Euro, US dollar, JPY, whatever. That's what I'm talking about. The integer, it's going to be the time period, time frame of the, for example, M1, D1, H, whatever. That is going to be the second parameter of IOpen. And the third parameter is going to be shift, which is basically the bar index. It's bar number 0, 1, whatever. That's the index of the bar. And here, as you can see, there are examples. And not only you can call IOpen, as you can see, there's ITime, IHeight, close, volume, and low. All these methods, all these functions you can use to get the specified value for it. So you have two options whenever it comes to the symbol. You can either write it down as in a string, exactly like here in this example, or you can simply just type symbol. And let's separate this. Symbol is actually going to return a string for you, and that string is the name of the symbol of the current chart, the chart that Expert Advisor is currently attached to it. The second parameter is time period or time frame or whatever you want to call it. And let's actually go to this page. Here is the list of the time periods you could use. You could either type the value for it, and this is in minutes, so you can type 0, it's just gonna get the current period. If you type 0, if your chart is on M1, it's gonna give you M1. If it's on M30, it's gonna give you M30. So that's that. But if you want to be specifically get the value of M1, even if you're on, for example, D1, you're still gonna get M1 value because you've specified for your advisor which value you want from him. So you just type 1, it's gonna give you M1. 5 is 5, and whatever. You can look at this. You can also type this. This is an enum variable. It's up to you. You can use either this, whatever, or this. Doesn't matter. As you can see here, it has used the enum value for it. So let's say we want to get the period M1 for our chart. Also type 1, or you can just type this. Exactly makes no difference. Either this or that. These two are exactly the same thing. And the third parameter is the number of the bar, the index of the bar. Let's go and say bar number 1, and I'm gonna just save this. We don't have any compile errors. Let's go back to the chart. And as you can see, if I go to different time frames, it's still gonna give me the same number, 84, 188, 84, 188, 84, 180. It's the same number. It's the number of the opening price, bar number 1 in the M1 period. As it has been mentioned here, you can also get the high by using IHigh, I close, low, open, volume even, and also time. So you have all these functions available for you to get any kind of data you want. Now let's go and take a look at the chart. If you are a trader, you're probably familiar with indicators. For example, let's look at this red line here. This is the moving average 14. Let me check this out. Yep, it's moving average period 14 with red color and other kind of settings. As you might know, this indicator, this moving average indicator, has a value on every bar. There are also other indicators you can use. There's a bunch of them. There's also MACD or whatever. Yeah, as you can see, it's all these indicators you can use. But if you try to add too many indicators, let me actually add this one, it's just gonna fill your chart with a bunch of random shapes. It's just crazy. But one cool thing about Expert Advisors is you can get the value of any indicator that you want without attaching that indicator to your chart. So you just delete all your indicators and you can simply access any value of any indicator that you want. To do that, let me actually show you the documentation. This is the link for docsmql4.com/indicators. If you go to this link, you'll get a list of all the commands you can run to get the value of any indicator you want. This is accelerator, oscillator, This is alligator, this is ICC. Here, as you can see, there's RSI, MACD. Any indicator you want, you can just get the value for it. It's very easy. And even if your indicator is not in this list, for example, it's a custom indicator that you downloaded from somewhere, you still can get the value of that indicator because an option has been added for you. It's called iCustom. This is for custom indicators that you know the name of the indicator, but it's not in this list. So let's start with the basics. For a start, let's just get the moving average. It's called IMA. Let me open this up. To get the value of the moving average indicator on the chart, you use a command called IMA. Symbol and time frame is two values we just covered here. As you can see, it's exactly like I open. Symbol is the symbol of that chart, and time frame is the, of course, time frame that you want, because as you might know, indicators have different values in different time frames. Now those two are easy. The other four values are settings of your moving average. The first one is the period of it, the second one is shift method and applied price, and the last one, of course, is the number of the bar, the index of the bar, which you want the value of the indicator on that bar. Let's cover these four. What are these four? Period, shift method and applied price. Let's go back to the chart. Let's find the moving average. Here I think it's in trend. Yes, moving average. Here it is. I'm just gonna drag it. As you can see, whenever you want to add the moving average to your chart, you have it period, it's default 14, shift is 0, method is simple, exponential, smooth, linear, weight, whatever, apply to close, open. This is exactly the four options that you want to pass here. The period, you add 14, shift, take a look at here, 0 or whatever number you want. It doesn't have to be 14 and 0 and simple and close. It could be anything you want. And method and applied price as well. There are enums for them. Let me actually, this is the method and this is the price. There are values you can pass either as integer values or their enum values. You can pass any of those. And this is price, close, open, high, low, whatever, and you can just get the value of that indicator. One more thing that you should know also, if you pass null as the symbol, it's just gonna use the symbol of the current chart. So let's actually go here, and instead of saying double open, we're just saying moving average, and instead of this I'm gonna say MA. You can either pass symbol or period M1 or whatever. No, let's go to other. The first one was the period, which was by default 14. I mean, you could do 14 or whatever, 21, any number you want. The other one was shift, which is usually 0, but you can, as I said, you can do whatever value you have in mind. It depends on your strategy. All these values depend on your strategy. I'm just providing you with the tools how to write an expert advisor. It's up to you to come up with a strategy and write that strategy so the expert advisor could execute it for you. And here it wants a method for us. Let's take a look at our methods. It has simple, exponential, whatever, and let's go back and see. Here we can either pass 0, 1, 2, or 3. 0 for simple averaging, 1 for exponential, number 2 for smooth, and 3 for linear weight. So you can either pass these numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3 for these, or you can pass the enum value for them. So let's say we want to do exponential. We can either type this one or we can type 1. Let's take a look. We can either do this or do this. Both are exactly the same thing. Let's just go with the enum because it's easier to read and we actually know what it is. And the last one, of course, is apply to. As you can see here, when you attach it to the chart, it's going to ask you to choose a value for it. But in the code, you have to write it for it. Let's go back to price constants. Here is price close, open, and as you can see, you can either pass the value of that option that you want, or you can just simply use the enum value for it. Just gonna paste this one. And the last one is the index of the bar. Let's go at number 1 or 0 or any bar number you want. And here we say moving average is going to be MA. And here it's a double value and we are trying to comment it, so we usually convert it, but as I said, it's not really necessary, but if you do it, it doesn't hurt. So let's check this out. We don't have any indicators on our chart. I'm just gonna go to our expert advisor. I'm gonna refresh it, bring this guy here, and this is the value for moving average on bar number 1. Let's actually double check it. I'm gonna add the moving average, the same, using the same settings we did here. M1 21, actually the period we used 21. Okay, and let's not forget we did it in M1, which we want the number of M1 because we are getting the period M1 for our code. Let's do this. 84185, 84185. And of course the code is more accurate than the chart. It's gonna give us all the digits for us. You can normalize this value into as many digits as you want. For example, you want only 84, you don't want the rest of it. Okay, there is an option for that. You can say normalize double. So we say MA is the value we want to normalize. We're going to separate it, and the number of digits we want. For example, we want 2 digits only. Okay, so here we say MA equals to normalized double. Let me compile this. So as you can see, it refreshed it automatically. Now instead of all those digits, it's only give us 2 digits. Let's do 3 digits. As you can see, 3 digits. So normalize double, it's gonna do this cool trick for us. So this is only one example of moving average. As I said, if you want other indicators, you can simply go to this page. It's a documentation page of MQL4, and you can just choose any indicator you want. Just click on it. For example, let's go to click on MACD. So basically almost all of them had the first 2 value that they take is symbol and time frame, and the last value they get is shift, which is that bar index, and the anything between these 2 is going to be the settings of that indicator. And there's always an example, as you can see here, is provided for you. So if your strategy contains any indicator, you can just simply get the value for it, implement it in your strategy, calculate whatever, and that's it. So I think this is enough for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment if you have any question. See you next time, and thanks for watching.